Wow, look at that recovery. We are coming back. This is the Bitcoin chart. And in the last few hours, there's been a nice 5% pump. It's corrected slightly. If you zoom into that, you can see, but it's on its way up again. And I think, not financial advice, your own research, that we are in for an interesting weekend because it's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you guys in the United States that celebrate. And may all the things that you're grateful for multiply, etc., etc. I'm grateful for Bitcoin and crypto, and I'm grateful for XRP and financial freedom and location independence and financial autonomy, etc., etc., etc. Except, of course, there are people, elements, powers that be, governments, etc., that are trying to take the stuff away from us. Hence, the periodic FUD that we get that cause this sort of thing to happen. Now, again, this is not me saying this, but a lot of people have speculated that this particular dip, this mass liquidation event that we had, let me just reduce the chart so we see it a bit more effective. That point there was orchestrated beautifully by people, all right? People who want to take that autonomy from us, who want us to remain encapsulated in the little sort of envelopes that they created for us. But they're fighting back, we're fighting back, etc. So if you look at the general market, you can see the sentiments are returning. It's funny how this is starting to move towards overbought. I'm talking about the RSI, but completely ignore that. We're definitely oversold at the moment. Fear greed index starting to improve. We're at 18 now, at the border with fear. So that's extreme fear about to become fear. So that's great. We've crept over $3 trillion when it comes to the market cap of the entire crypto industry. Of course, that is completely dwarfed by the market cap of other things outside the crypto industry, those that have direct influence on us. And I said this to a friend of mine actually this morning. I said, look, greed has won out, okay? The powers that be have actually won this whole crypto war. What we can do now as retail investors and early believers in crypto is to try and make as much money from it as possible. I don't think that the original dream can be fulfilled now of, completely disconnecting from the system, etc. I think the desire to make money and the greed has overtaken that other reason to be of Bitcoin and other cryptos. Anyway, that's a slight digression. XRP not doing much in the last 24 hours, but I think it's just waiting to move once the gears get activated. If you compare it to Bitcoin, you will see that it didn't move as much as Bitcoin overnight because it had already done its move, if we're being honest. So Bitcoin outperforming pretty much everybody in the top 10 for a change, which is quite an interesting thing to see. Not outperforming by very much, but outperforming nonetheless, doing 5%. The others do, Ethereum doing 4.25, XRP not doing anything, BNB 4 point something, Solana 4 point something. So it seems as though XRP is leading actually this run. So XRP did its move yesterday and the day before, and the others caught up today. So what might happen tomorrow? We never know. But again, of course, it's Thanksgiving season, and then we're moving into the weekend in the United States. So I expect the next few days to be relatively quiet. So who knows what they're going to try and do, these market makers and whales, seeing that the sentiment is, the sentiments are lifting and people are putting money in there already, or people are preparing to put money in there. They know that people are going to be putting in long orders, very, very, very long orders. And that might prove too delicious for the market makers, especially this particularly strategic time that we're moving into low, quiet volume weekend because of the Thanksgiving, etc. in the United States. So be careful this weekend. Who knows, right? But after the weekend, heading towards Christmas, I believe that we might see something special. November hasn't been great. It's been relatively red this month, but I think there are good things coming for crypto generally, especially XRP. On the 29th, there's going to be another XRP ETF that goes live. So I don't know what kind of volume we're going to get with that, again, being in quiet period. But then, the quiet period at some point will end, and then we're going to move into Santa December or Santa Rally December, not financial advice. Do your own research. Talking about people waiting to buy. Binance stablecoin reserves hit record high. And this happened during the correction. So a lot of people during the correction were selling and leaving their money parked on the side. So people were trying to swing trade. Okay. So people were trying to swing trade. The whales were accumulating at a lower amount. So this is funny. So the whales were buying the dip. We're still kind of at the dip, but the dip has lifted somewhat and went a bit lower than that. So at the lowest point, we saw the whales buying the dip. We saw Texas buying the dip at 87,000. So Texas now in profit. Shout out to Texas. I can imagine they'll be allocating that remaining $5 million very, very soon, depending on where they think the market is going. But a lot of people terrified and keeping their money in stable coins on the exchanges. This means that they're waiting to sell. There've also been inflows from private wallets, cold wallets, whales moving a lot of stable coins into the exchanges. And when this happens, it usually signifies that we're about to see a buying frenzy. So we might be gearing up for that absolutely insane euphoric pump that we've been talking about all year. So cryptocurrency exchanges are seeing surging inflows as the market correction unfolds. Binance stablecoin reserves reach a record of $51 billion, the highest in history as of November 15. So that's when that was measured, probably more now. Bitcoin and Ethereum inflows climbed to $40 billion this week, led by Binance and Coinbase. The surge in inflows coincides with increased trading activity during the current market downturn. Binance attracted around $15 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum, amounting to more than a third of total inflows. So Binance, the powerhouse there in trading, and they're the ones obviously that also had the problems during the downturn. I don't know, man. There's a lot going on in Binance. After this whole dust settles, there's going to be some investigations, not financial advice, not legal allegations, allegedly. Don't sue me, don't sue me, don't sue me. Well, there are going to be investigations, and we're going to find out what kind of madness was happening with Binance, right? So shout out to Binance. Liquidations have been looking a little bit weird. Orca liquidated nearly, in fact, not nearly, about a third of $1 million of Orca liquidated, topping the liquidation chart in the last hour, which is kind of crazy that a small altcoin can top liquidations. But that's what's happening. You can see Aster, others, AT, Merle in the last hour just being wiped out in both directions. So be very careful. This usually happens when people FOMO into some kind of new coin or some tiny coin, and then the founders dump on you. And then, whatever. 4 hours ago, BTC leading the liquidations. So this is what happens when Bitcoin pumps and the alts don't respond as much. You get the regular longs being liquidated in Ethereum and others like Solana. Even XRP got a little bit, but shorts got wiped out in Bitcoin. If you look at the 12 hours, wow, wiped out. 24 hours. Wiped out, okay? $133 million worth of Bitcoin shorts eliminated. Ethereum, about a third of that. Hype, 23 million wiped out. So again, people put in long orders on tiny altcoins. Again, they then get dumped on by their creators. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but that's what usually happens. And then, it becomes vaporware. Everyone loses money. Terrible. Be careful, not financial advice, your own research. So it is what it is. Now, if you look at the bubbles, my favorite website, you can see a visual representation of what I'm talking about. It's actually a very, very green hour. And I expect it to look even greener when I click the day. Yes, that's what I get. Looking good. A lot of coins coming back. CAS making a strong comeback. Somehow this right, this meme core always does the opposite of whatever is happening in the market. I remember when everything was red, it was like bright green. It was like 100% or something like that. So I don't know, man. Stay away from meme core, not financial advice. Do your own research. Now, talking about wrapping us in little envelopes and bubbles of what they like to do. the powers that be, the establishment banks, they like to create their own products, right? They don't like Bitcoin per se. They're on board with Bitcoin now because they have no option but to be on board with Bitcoin, because that is the, crypto generally is the future, right? And because Bitcoin still has the largest market cap and it isn't as adventurous as, say, XRP for now, they have no choice but to be in Bitcoin and, just play along. We know that JP Morgan's been buying, for instance, Bitcoin for a long time, okay? All this while telling people that Bitcoin is a scam, Bitcoin should be banned, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, they started recommending Bitcoin to their richer clients and allocating some of their portfolios to Bitcoin. Again, while still talking down on Bitcoin. Now you have JP Morgan. Not only are they full in on Bitcoin, the ETF, blah, blah, blah. They're actually now sending delegates to places like Ripple Swell, signifying their intentions with XRP and the XRP ledger and the Ripple stablecoin, etc. So only God knows what they're working on when it comes to XRP. But what they really love to do, the establishment, is create these synthetic products for people to invest in. So there would be one underlying product, say gold or whatever, and then they would build some sort of synthetic layer on top of it. And then they'll roll that synthetic layer into another synthetic layer. And then they create these hundreds of products that are synthetic relationships, options rolled in with bonds, rolled in with this and real estate and everything all bundled together. Such that when one of them fails, it causes this cascade and everything messes up across the board. It also confuses the heck out of investors that if they were to just stop to think, would realize that, well, why don't we just invest in that underlying thing that, they've rolled all these synthetic things on top of? If they got people thinking like that, people would just basically buy Bitcoin or XRP or whatever, rather than this product here. JP Morgan's Bitcoin structured notes offers potentially blah, 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 if BTC surges by 2028. So they've got this product that is a synthetic layer of a synthetic layer of something that is backed by Bitcoin. So the exposure to Bitcoin is the fact that it is married somehow to BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust. Okay, you can see here it says Monday's filing with the SEC from the top bank shows that proposed leverage product, so it's a leverage product, in the form of a structured note would allow investors to bet big on the leading cryptocurrency via BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust exchange traded fund. So this is a leverage product that is some sort of new synthetic marriage of old types of bond systems, old types of, products, somehow leveraged against an ETF of a cryptocurrencies. So why not just buy Bitcoin? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a novice in this financial world. I'm a simple guy. I buy XRP low, I hodl and hope for the best. Not financial advice. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.